Imagine paying thousands for a first-class ticket, only to be told you don't belong, not because of your seat number, but because of the color of your skin. That's exactly what happened to one black CEO. But what the airline didn't know was that this man controlled a $120 million decision that would shake their entire company. This is the story of how humiliation in the skies turned into corporate revenge. Imagine this. You board flight dressed sharply, carrying your briefcase, ready for a long business trip. You paid thousands of dollars for a first-class seat, and you expect comfort and respect. But instead, you're treated like you don't belong. That's exactly what happened to David Langston, a black CEO of a billion-dollar investment firm. On a sunny morning flight from New York to Los Angeles, David walked into the first-class cabin, handed over his ticket, and settled into his seat. But just as he was adjusting his laptop, a flight attendant leaned in and whispered, "Sir, there seems to be a mistake." David looked confused. The attendant explained that another passenger, a white businessman who had arrived late, was insisting that David was sitting in his seat. Despite David showing his boarding pass with the correct seat number, the crew insisted he move. And in front of dozens of passengers, he was escorted out of first class and sent to sit in economy. The humiliation was unbearable. But what the airline didn't know was that David wasn't just any passenger. He was the man controlling their future funding. To understand the weight of this story, you need to know who David was. David Langston grew up in Atlanta, the son of a schoolteacher and a postal worker. From a young age, he knew the value of hard work and perseverance. After earning scholarships, he studied finance at Harvard and later earned an MBA at Stanford. By his 40s, David had become the CEO of Langston Equity Partners, a global investment firm that managed billions of dollars. One of their clients? The very airline he was flying on. Every year, David's firm approved or froze budgets worth hundreds of millions of dollars for corporations, including this airline. And as fate would have it, just a week before the flight, David's company had been reviewing whether to renew the airline's $120 million financial package. That's right. The airline that humiliated him in front of strangers had no idea he was the man holding the pen over their future. David didn't shout. He didn't cause a scene. He quietly moved to economy and completed his flight in silence. But passengers who witnessed the incident weren't so quiet. By the time the plane landed in Los Angeles, videos of the incident were already going viral. Strangers on social media called it racism in the skies and demanded answers from the airline. The airline's PR team scrambled, issuing a half-hearted apology. "We regret the misunderstanding and are reviewing our seating policies." But the damage was done. News outlets picked up the story. Hashtags like #FlyingWhileblack and #FirstClass Discrimination started trending worldwide. And while the internet fumed, David remained calm because he knew he had a far bigger weapon than tweets or hashtags. Just 3 days later, the airline's executive board gathered for a routine meeting with Langston Equity Partners. On the agenda, renewing the airline's $120 million annual financial package. The airline CFO began with his usual pitch, boasting about profitability and future growth. But when it came time for David to speak, the room went silent. He slid a folder across the table. Inside was a single-page letter. Due to recent events, Langston Equity Partners will be freezing all future funding until further notice. The room erupted. Executives begged him to reconsider. They promised retraining programs, better diversity policies, even personal apologies. But David didn't budge. He simply said, "Respect isn't optional. If your airline can't treat passengers with dignity, then you don't deserve our partnership." With that, he stood up, shook no hands, and walked out. The $120 million was gone. Just like that. The fallout was massive. Within weeks, the airline stock price dropped, customers boycotted, and headlines everywhere exposed the scandal. Other corporations took note, realizing that diversity and respect aren't just moral obligations, they're financial ones. As for David, he never gloated. In interviews, he simply said, "What happened to me happens to black travelers every day. The difference is I had the power to make it cost them." And that's the real story here, power and respect. No matter how wealthy or successful someone is, being judged by the color of your skin is a wound that never stops cutting. But in this case, justice didn't just come through outrage, it came through dollars. So the next time you see a headline about discrimination on a plane, remember, you never know who you're pushing aside, because it might just be the person who holds your future in their hands. And that's how one humiliating flight turned into a $120 million lesson for the entire airline industry. What do you think? Was David right to freeze the budget, or should he have given them a second chance? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that reveal the shocking truth behind everyday headlines.